What's up? What's up? What's up? SPX 6900. How do you find the next SPX 6900? I like to simplify things, whenever it comes to, let's just say, baking a cake. Someone say, hey, how can I recreate a cake? The answer is quite simple. You need the ingredients. You need the recipe. A lot of projects may have the ingredients because the ingredients is just, everything that it needs to everything that it needs to being able to formulate a cake. But the recipe, it tells you how much to put into the cake. It tells you how long to being able to bake that cake. And for me, it's always been just reverse engineering. Like, what has worked in the market ever since the inception of Bitcoin? Because SPX 69, I know I label, how to find the next SPX 6900. The video really supposed to be how to find the next Bitcoin. Because SPX 6900, it has the same recipe as Bitcoin. I said this over a year ago, right? And I stated like different tokens that resembled Bitcoin or had that decentralized feel to it. And those tokens end up doing extremely well. Funny enough, I seen Murad do a video maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and he mentioned, oh, look for the tokens that resemble Bitcoin the most. And I said this over a year ago, guys. Over a year ago. So even before Murad started talking about believing and doing all this and that, I was already talking about this. Everything's recorded, everything is documented, so you could check out my channel to see whether what I'm saying is right or wrong. Um, but this is the same concept that I've been talking about. And many people will fail to understand or even take action because a lot of time when people are looking for the next XPX 6900, they're not looking it for it when it's down here. Let me show you guys. They're not looking for the next XPX 6900 when it's at a low market cap. Many times, a lot of people, whenever they're finding the next XPX 6900, they're going to be finding it at the top, the run up. And then they're going to be hoping that, oh, this continue to run and have maybe another 100, another 1000x. It could happen, but risk reward, guys. This is one thing that I'm huge on. I am huge on risk reward. Like, it's easier, it's better to buy a low market cap play when it's somewhere in the millions of dollars of market cap versus buying a token in the billions of dollars worth of market cap. Because if you just looking at the chart, guys, like it just simple visualization. I can't even talk. It's at $1.34. Look at the room, the downside room that it has to being able to go down. Not saying that it is going to go down, but I'm just telling you, just based upon uh risk reward. Like for me, good entries would have been somewhere over here. And even during this dip right here, like it held a very good support area and now it's having this rebound. And it's probably going to go retest all time highs and probably break all time highs and it's going to go off to the races. But to being able to make money in this market, the tokens that are doing extremely well and that could offer retail the best chance of making life changing gains is tokens like SPX 6900, at least having that structure like SPX 6900. So we're going to be discussing that in today's video. So or this today's live. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to drop it in the comment section. Um, I'll try to do my best to keep my eyes on it to being able to answer you guys' question. So, Mog. Take a look at Mog. This is another SPX 6900 like token. You have Turbo, another SPX 6900. But look at all of this though. Like whenever you're looking at it, like people were not interested in these tokens when they were in the low market cap, right? In the millions of dollars worth of market cap. Let me zoom down so that way you guys can see it. People were not interested when it was over here. People tend to get interested once they start seeing this verticality, guys. This straight vertical boom. We're going straight up. Then at that point in time, this is when it's typically popping into your radar. Like a lot of people probably seen PopCap before, but it was just like, I'm not interested. Like, it's not doing well. The market cap is too low. But a lot of time, those are the tokens to being able to that you have to focus in on and finding out why, this could be the next big thing. So for me, this right here, in my opinion, is the next SPX 6900. It's called Roaring Kitty and it's on Ethereum. Why am I extremely bullish on Roaring Kitty on Ethereum? Because if you listen to what Murad have to say about tokens that survived or had massive run-ups followed by massive crash just to being able to create a new all-time high, this token so far has done that at least 7 times, guys, and it's going to be approaching the 8th time as soon as it breaks past this all-time high. This is extremely undervalued. A lot of people may have heard about it. At least people know the name of the token, Roaring Kitty, which is inspired by Keith Gill, the legendary trader who took GameStop to the moon. This token origin, it dates back all the way from 2022. So this is an old token that's been around, and it just recently, when I say recently, I'm talking about a year or so, over a year, been taken over by the community. And ever since then, guys, this token has performed like crazy. And it's still currently right now at a $3.7 million market cap after a lot of people who got in early did 100x. And I think this token is going to do another 1,000x, guys. It's going to do another 1,000x. Why do I think that? And again, I go back to modeling. What is it modeling after? It models after a couple of different tokens. SPX 6900, that's one. Shiba Inu, that's another one. Turbo, that's another one. And all of them are CTO tokens, like community driven, 100% community driven. And in order for people to get access to that token, they have to buy it on the open market. That is number one. In order for a token to have that success. And again, I'm not saying that this is the only way, that other tokens that structure differently cannot have success, but it becomes extremely hard for those tokens, But to get back to what I was saying, in order for you to buy SPX 6900, in order for you to get access to SPX 6900, there's no team that's holding, some token, and that if they want influencers to jump on, they give them some token, and that way they can start promoting their token. That's not how SPX 6900 operates, guys. They do not operate like that. SPX 6900 operates on the model that the community have to provide for the token. When it comes to content creating, the community has to be the one that creates the content, and they have to do it for free. You're not getting paid SPX 6900 for making content. Like you're investing in this token, so your job is to put this token out to the masses, talking to your family, talk to your friends, talk to everybody that you can about SPX 6900. That's one thing. Influencers, if you're an influencer, you're talking about SPX 6900, you bought your bag on the open market and nobody's paying you to do it. If we go back to take a look at the last token who had the same model, it was Shiba Inu. Back in the last cycle, 2021 cycle, every single influencer and their mother was talking about Shiba Inu. Shiba Inu, they did not get paid because, again, how can you get paid for Shiba Inu? Because all the distribution of the token was out onto the open market. Because the token is out on the open market, nobody, could say, hey, I'm going to pay this influencer, unless they have to buy it themselves. Nobody could say, hey, I'm buying this token and I'm going to, or no, they're not saying, hey, you're an influencer. Let me give you 1 billion Shiba Inu for you to talk about Shiba Inu. And if someone was doing that, they essentially had to buy it on the open market in order for that to happen. So there still was that transaction that happened on the open market, causing people to buy it, and no one got free access to SHIB. So that's the same thing with SPX 6900. Nobody has free SPX 6900. The only people that are giving away SPX 6900 are the people who actually bought SPX 6900. So there's still that exchange of value. Token origination. That's another big thing. Like a lot of these tokens, guys, whenever they come onto the market, they are launched. The developers who are creating these meme coins, to me, that's the most stupidest thing in the world. You're a developer, it's not stupid for them because they're making money off of it, but it's stupid as an investor for you to actually buy into these tokens where these developers are creating pretty much free money. That's what they're doing. Whenever they mint these tokens, they're setting aside tokens for themselves, and you're buying these meme tokens like a dummy, thinking like, oh, it's, the dev is going to take me all the way to the moon. They just created $100,000, 200,000, sometimes even $1 million for themselves, guys, instantly. They just created it. People talk about like, oh, the US dollar just be printing and all this and that. What do you think these tokens that these devs that receive free tokens, what do you think happened to them? They're printing money as well too. And anytime you're printing money, it is going to devalue your token long term. This is why sometimes, typically, you see in charts for these tokens that you guys are so prone to invest into, it has one spike followed by, a dip, one more spike, then it's just like a death sentence. Majority of these developers, they're not going to be holding on to millions of dollars and not sell onto the open market, or if Bitcoin has a tumble, because we all know wherever Bitcoin goes, so shall the overall market goes. So if Bitcoin starts going up, it's going to drag the market up. If Bitcoin starts going down, it's going to drag the market down. So a lot of time with these tokens that get minted out of nowhere, or they give tokens to the marketing wallet, and that's going to be for operations of the project, what do you think that token that they set aside for that is going to be used for? It's going to be used to sell onto the open market. They're constantly going to be selling on you. And if Bitcoin has that tumble like I was talking about, and it's just been consolidating for weeks and weeks, they have bills that they have to pay each month. Their overhead is constantly killing them. It's just like a business, guys. It is just like some of these tokens, you got to think of them like a business. Is this token, this meme coin, is it producing revenue? And if the answer is no, it's not producing revenue, then what is their overhead? Some projects overhead is like monthly just to stay afloat is like $30, $40, $50, $60,000 per month. And that token that you're invested into don't even generate 50, 60, 70, $80,000, you know, in a month, or sometimes not even in a week. So so that sell pressure that is constantly happening from that team that's selling 30, 40, $50,000, that is getting impacted on the chart. So and this is a little trick right here too. This is SPX. So they seen 4.7 million sales with 5.2 million buys, right? If the sell side is greater than the buy side, this is going to cause the token to go down. So if they're dumping $60,000, $100,000 because of their budget that they have, and and that may not even include the salaries that they have to pay as well too, on a monthly basis, then it's going to automatically start dragging the token down. So that is one thing that SPX 6900, I want to say their budget, their overhead for SPX 6900, it's near zero, because they believe that the community have to provide for itself, right? So the community have to provide for itself. If the community is providing for themselves, then they don't have free tokens that's gonna artificially start dumping onto the open market. The people that, the red candles that you see on the chart is going to come from holders. Same thing with Shiba Inu. What's the overhead budget for Shiba Inu? You know, when it comes to SHIB, there is no free SHIB on the open. There's no free SHIB that someone is holding to being able to just dump on the open market. It has to come from somewhere. So when I talk about Roaring Kitty is like the next XPX 6900, guess what is some of the same stuff that is following? No free tokens. Everything is on the open market. So in order for you to buy this token or get your hand on this token, you have to buy it on the open market. There is no freebies. There is no, like, I get asked, like, you'll be surprised by how many influencers, I'm talking about these big name influencers that want to get a hold or wants to be a part of Roaring Kitty, but they feel like, hey, if I'm being a part of any project, especially a low market cap play, I need to get they need to get their hands on the token. You have to pay, or you have to provide them supply. And my answer to them always is, nobody owns the supply. You know, if you want to talk about this token, if you really want to, be the next Murad, or be the next face of a huge token, it's better for you to go onto the open market, you buy the token, then you start talking about it to your audience. Because everything about this is organic. Organic in the sense of, you have to buy it. There's no tokens that we're providing. Like, that is huge. Like, people don't realize how huge that is. Like, whenever a token, like, all the supply is on the open market, that is huge. Now, the next factor when it comes to the next SPX 6900 is the community aspect. The community have to be strong. The community have to provide for itself. So how does the community provide for themselves, right? The community, and this is the easiest thing. Like, let me just pull up X real quick so that way you guys can see. Well, only need to pull up X. Think about this. Your community, depending on the size of your token, it could vary. So, but if you have a token and your token, let's just say there's like 10,000 people in the token, 10,000 holders in the token, and you're able to get, let's just say somewhere around like 400 to 500 people who actively on the day-to-day basis are going to be making at least one post about your token. because we all know there people, when it comes to people, you're not going to get 100% participation. Some people are, you know, people are stupid. That's the easiest thing I can say. People are stupid. But if you're able to get 4 to 500 people from your token to talk about the token on the day-to-day basis, and let's just say the average impression that each person is doing is about 100 impression, guys. 100 impression per day. And this is how you start to see like exponential growth on token. So 400 people get 100 impressions per day. So we're looking at 40,000 impression in a day. Now, and this is how things really start to compound, and you really start to see these big moves on the way up, and people just look at like, oh my God, they just came out of nowhere. No, it did not come out of nowhere. Like when it was consolidating right here, the community was working. Like before it had this massive run up, the community was working. See, all this, when people were not interested, when people were just fading, the community was still working, making daily posts. And typically, like I mentioned, people don't get interested until they see this big move on the way up. But back to what I was saying. 400 people making one post per day. That'll give you 40,000 impression in a day. After a week, that'll get you 280,000 impression. And after a month, you're looking at 1.1 million impression. And that just by making one post per day, because you're a community, you're bullish on the project. So out of that 1 million, 1.1 million impression, out the month, they say roughly not even 1% convert over as far as like to getting in your project. I think it's like 0.2301. So in a month, your community could potentially grow by 112 new holders. Multiply that in a course of 6 months, course of a year, then you start seeing that big acceleration on your project. Then eventually you see this big, massive run up. That's simply how it goes. So this is why rating, shilling, it matters. This is why Murad is constantly telling his community, like, hey, make a post. Like they have, their community is extremely strong. He's making posts. He's getting by himself probably 1 million impression alone. Then you tie into what the community is doing as well too. Some are making content. Some are making posts. Some are making flyers. Some are finding utility. Like that's the type of community that you are looking to be a part of. Same thing with Roaring Kitty. Like I'm a part of the community. I get paid $0 to talk about Roaring Kitty. I get offers from different projects practically every other week for me to get paid just to talk about their project. Because they like my style. I guess they like the way I deliver my message. My content are genuine. I get paid. Offered to get paid to talk about projects, and I decline them. Why? Because it goes back to the simple fact of, if I start talking about these projects, guess what these developers are going to be doing? And right now we're seeing, I'm not even going to name the project, but you're currently seeing a whole bunch of different influencers talking about one specific token, and right now that token is taking a beating. Who is selling? See, that's the culture that so many people are accustomed to. Like if the devs is doing a project, creating a token, It's cool for them to automatically get free token. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Getting free tokens for what? Like, what value are you getting? Because you had an idea and you put your token to fruition, and all of a sudden, like, you should be holding over $1 million. Because to making tokens now is not as complicated as it was. It used to be valuable. Some a dev creating a token. No, you could go on Pump Fund right now. And this is why I think a lot of people don't like Pump Fund, due to the fact of how easy it is. So now these developers, they're like, "Oh, Pump Fund is trash, blah 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 blah." No, they just want free tokens. They want to create a token, automatically create value out of thin air, make the token pump, dump on the token, boom, off to the next one. Because now more people are not really stunning these projects, these dev led projects, you know. Because in order for you to, like, I would see, like, you create value for the token, then you get paid for it. I think that's fair. But automatically from day one, you getting access to 100,000, $1 million of free token because you decided that, hey, I wanted to create the token. Decentralization, guys. Because at the end of the day, when you look at SPX 6900, what is it truly is? It is decentralized. Decentralized. You want SPX 6900, you have to buy it on the open market. And you, as a community member, your duty, your obligation to SPX 6900, the way that it's succeeding is due to the fact that you, as a community member, you have to provide for your token. It's like the secret recipe is really none. Or, some may argue, say, well, the secret recipe is actually the community. I could probably agree to that, because most tokens community are not doing the things that SPX 6900 community is doing. But like I mentioned, Roaring Kitty, community is small, but it's growing. Holder count right now is 1,338, if I'm not mistaken. What is it patterning after? SPX 6900. Growing an organic community from scratch. This became a CTO back in May of 2024. The token itself was created back in 2022. The origination of the token was every single token. There's only 1 billion in supply. 1 billion in supply, and at token origination, the devs did not receive a free token. Market Wallet didn't receive free token. Everything was available on Uniswap. In order for people to get their hands on this token, they had to go to the open market and buy the token. Like, whenever you're making it, because another thing too that people don't realize, whenever you're doing it like that, you're creating a market. You're allowing a market to be created. For the people who buy into like pre-sale tokens, to me, that does not create a market. And what do I mean by a market? It's like exchange, like somewhere that you could buy and sell goods, a market, right? In order for pricing or prices to go up, it needs to have an efficient market. So with an efficient market, it would require people not buying at the same spots. This is why I don't like pre-sales, because with pre-sales, especially like if I missed the pre-sale, like I'm not buying into it because you have maybe 1,000 other people who bought at this low mark. Let's say, I'm just gonna give example, $1 million market cap. The token gets, they open the token up at a $20 million market cap. So the people who got into the pre-sale, they're already up 20x. If you are up 20x, most people are going to sell. So what do I look like going out buying a token that's already 20x, even 5x from where other people are buying? And not only that, there may be 1,000 other people who bought at that same price. To even give you guys another example, let's talk about the housing market, right? If everybody bought their house at $100,000, everybody bought across the board $100,000, who the heck are you going to sell it to? If we bought it at the same spot, who are you going to sell? Who is going to say, hey, you know what? I know you bought it at 100,000. I bought it at 100,000, but I'm actually willing to pay $150,000 for it. Like, it does not create a market like that. So these pre-sales tokens that you see, people are all buying at the same spot, and they're expecting us, the greater fool theory. You expected someone else to just want to buy it at a higher price. I mean, I guess you could even have an argument and say, yeah, there's a lot of fools in the market. But if you're listening to this live, don't be that fool. So to tie it back in with token origination, so if all the tokens are on the open market, and this is why pump fund tokens, despite what people, the aspect that pump fund tokens are missing is the community, because there is a lot of rotation. Once people get into a pump fund token, they're going to go to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. So it never creates that community. But the token origination, like they nailed they're spot on with that. Because even before things go to bonding, everybody's not buying at the same spot. It's creating a market. And this is why you tend to see pump fund tokens having the biggest pumps. Like if you're looking at different listings, different successful tokens that are similar to SPX 6900, a lot of them are pump fund tokens. Like people give pump fund a lot of crap, which some is deserved. But for efficiency, for creating a market, for keeping investors safe, if you get into the right one, those tokens are actually pretty good. Because someone could create a token, starting market cap could be around like $3,000, right? Boom. The dev, they bought in first, however amount they get. Then the next starting price or the next, it's just going to go up on the chart until it actually bonds. Creates a market. Because the people who are buying Roaring Kitty over here, they probably sold Roaring Kitty over here. People who was buying Roaring Kitty over here, they probably sold Roaring Kitty over here. And it just rotating as new people come in. Because your grandpa, your nana, they bought real estate when it was dirt cheap. Maybe like $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, right? And now they're selling their real estate for $200,000, $500,000 because a market was created. Because them holding on, and and if you look at it, them holding on to their real estate, right? It is causing pretty much a shortage in the market. And this is why hodling, Murad talks about, investors to that hodl. You got to hodl your bag, because essentially when you're hodling your bag, you're taking away that sell pressure. You're taking away that that overhead. So if there's less tokens that's available as the project continue to, as you continue to raid and shill and more people start to come into your project, you're holding your bag. It is forcing them to buy it at a higher price, because due to the fact there's limited amount on the open market. And this is what I mean by efficient market. Whenever a market is efficient, it's just gonna automatically just causes the chart to start going parabolic. Versus if your token, if your dev receive free token, automatically each month some tokens are gonna have to be sold due to the fact that they have bills to pay. So it's not making it efficient. I'm gonna take a quick break real quick. I just got a quick phone call, so I'm just gonna take this phone call, then I'll be right back, guys. So if you're just coming in, go ahead and smash that like button if you have not already done so. You're also on X. Matter of fact, I haven't been checking my X. See if I got any comments or anything there. Yep. So I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna make a quick phone call, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back, y'all. But yeah, um, there's so many different examples that's on the open market right now of you're seeing true CTO tokens, because again, at the end of the day, if you break down SPX 6900 to its truest form, it's a CTO. Now, people think CTOs are like, oh, the dev rug, then boom, bada beam, it's a CTO. CTO is a little bit more than that. It's just not the dev rug. It's the like it in the name what it is. Community takeover. Like the community is in control, and when a community is in control, that means it's in control of everything. You know. from marketing, from raids, from shield. Like we get in our Telegram so many every day. Like somebody wants us to pay them to talk about our token. Like no, we have a community that's doing that. Like we don't need to pay you to get on X to talk about our token. Our community's already doing that. Mog. I remember seeing Mog. And again, this is all before like I really started, because people think what worked in the last cycle is going to also work in this cycle. The market has completely changed. Not SPX, but Pump Fund has created a surplus of tokens in the open market. Whenever there's a surplus of token or surplus of anything, in order for your token to stand out, it has to rely on a community. Now, aside from just having that community, it does not need obstacles in its way, because people like green candles. People always say, oh, trading is easy. You buy low, sell high. But the truth of the matter is, people do not buy low or sell high. They like to buy when it's high and sell when it's low. So, since there's so many different tokens that's currently on the open market, each token is fighting for attention. So, right now, the meme market or crypto in itself, it's an attention based market. So, this is why CTOs are getting the spotlight, because some projects, like the devs, they're like, oh, we're just gonna we're not gonna do anything until we have we have news. Like there's this one project, and it had so much potential too. I'm just gonna say it, fun token. It had so much potential, but the devs in itself, like it's a dev ran project, but they did not create a community. They're like, oh, the product is gonna speak for itself. Like people didn't come, like people mature, as you become, as you become more seasoned into crypto, you start maturing, and you start looking for like projects that have like long lasting utility. But that is a very, 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 very small percentage of the investors that are getting into crypto. Because if you like, and a lot of it when it comes to devs is, I think they lost sight of reality of the reason why they came into crypto. Because I would say 99% of the people come to crypto to being able to make life-changing gains, to get off their job, don't have to worry about a thing, provide for their family. It's financially driven. So when a dev is saying like, oh, the product is going to speak for itself, people don't care about products. Like that's the simple truth. Like they want to know, or they want to see, does this project have potential for me to turn either my $100, my $1,000, my $10,000 into 100x, 1,000x. And if you're unable to provide that, or even showing like demonstration of that you could even do that, then it's gonna essentially, your project is gonna be pretty much stuck in the water, a sitting duck. Could have been trying to cure cancer, but if people don't know it, or if you don't have a community that knows about it, then it's really no good. So since now we are in a attention seat, attention, like you got to get your token out in front of the masses. And this is where the trouble starts to happen. When it comes to those team led tokens. Okay, so I know the problem is that our project is not being visible. People don't see our project. People don't know about it. What is the easiest way for people to know about our project? And the easiest way is to by letting giving influencers free token to talk about it. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this a little short, guys. But let me just answer a few questions. Somebody said price prediction end of 2025. Um, it's very hard to give a price prediction, especially for Roaring Kitty, by the end of 2025, because there's so many, like, the thesis for Roaring Kitty. There's about like 7 or 8 different things. Um, so I'm just saying, if at least one of the thesis, one, if you guys don't know what my thesis is, I do have it on X. It is pinned. Like, let me pull it up. That way you guys can see it. I didn't realize something. Since I am live on X, I don't think it's gonna. All right, well, it's tripping. So, um, if at least one of the thesis happen, I think Roaring Kitty would be above $1 based upon one of the thesis. Let me see if I can get it pulled up though, because there's several different things that is on my Roaring Kitty thesis. Because we do have the whole CTO aspect. It's a CTO token, all right? Similarly to SPX 6900, the GameStop meta, our token moved extremely well with GameStop. GameStop starts having a pump. Our token starts to pump as well too. Um, Surprisingly enough, like when we seen this nice little pump right here, guess what else was pumping? GameStop. Even right here, when we see this pump, guess what was pumping? GameStop as well. Of course, GameStop started going down, so it essentially affected us. GameStop started going down, it affected us as well too. Um, so it's like yin and yang. Uh, we have the Roaring Kitty narrative. That is pretty strong, and I think to me that right there would be the one that would give us that instant $1 billion market cap, just like instantly. Like he comes out swinging, and next thing you know, boom, Roaring Kitty is at $1 billion market cap. I had made a post about there was 2 articles that was written just in the last few weeks about Roaring Kitty Keith Gill, and guess who they end up tagging? They tagged us, the community, Roaring Kitty token, due to the fact that our token is inspired by him. Power of CTO, continue to do what we're doing right now, rating shilling. Boom, we're gonna get there. Bone getting to $100. Shabarium popping off. We have big liquidity there. So with Bone just going up in price, it's gonna automatically drag our price up as well too. You also have the cat meta, that's pretty strong. Popcat Mog, Roaring Kitty's a part of that as well too. We're now currently on Solana as well too as a bridgeable token, and being the fact that we are a bridgeable token, we are going to be able to experience that next leg up as Solana start to go up. So Solana goes up, it's going to drag our token up. We need more liquidity, of course, to see that big effect. Um, Ethereum, that goes up, that's going to drag our token up as well too. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's happening in the background with Roaring Kitty. The community, the biggest thing right now that we are seeing is the growth in holders. And the reason why growth in holders matter is due to the fact that as more holders come, that's going to be potential more raiders. That's new raiders, new shillers. It could be the next content creators. There's so many different people that is in crypto that would like to, find a genuine community to be a part of, and also to being able to contribute their talent. Because as you contribute your talent, like everything that you do for Roaring Kitty is a plus positive. Bro, when you get your numbers off of 10 million or better, you can't quit YouTube. You have to stay and continue to teach and help confirm theories. Keep a place where uh, like-minded people meet. Yeah, no, I'm all right. Let me clarify. I'm not gonna go complete. I'm gonna definitely take a break though. I'm not gonna be dropping content like I'm dropping now, practically like every day. Um, like I'm gonna I'll probably do like a 6 months to a year. Um, More likely it's gonna be in the bear market though. 6 months to a year hiatus. You know, then when I come back, I'll be able to just show you guys like, hey, this is some of the stuff that I was looking at. It may have potential here and there, and just pretty much break down my thesis. Um, so it's not gonna be a farewell forever, but it would be like a an extended vacation. But yeah, so end of year 2025, and I always say if because these factors have to happen in order for the prediction to come through. Because I see a lot of people make prediction, they just throwing numbers out there. Like they don't say why they think their prediction is gonna be able to come to pass. Mine is always contingent upon stuff happening. If this stuff don't happen, then that is not gonna happen. You know. So end of year, at least before the end of the year, Roaring Kitty to be at $1 billion market cap. Now, barring any wars, any rumors of war, any tariff, or Trump just messing up whatever he's trying to mess up for crypto, we should be able to get there. Now I really appreciate that. Yeah, well deserved vacation. Yeah, yeah, and hopefully you guys, that are in, been following the channel, been taking action. You guys got in on, some of these plays, especially Bone. Like I'm still extremely bullish on Bone. And one thing that I always say too, like I see some people are panicking on Bone. Like you can't panic yet. You don't need to panic because Bitcoin has not yet had that massive run up. Like the time to panic is like, oh my God, Bitcoin is just ripping face and doing all this and that. Bitcoin is the guide. If Bitcoin is not doing that, and like I had mentioned in December, I mentioned this in December, like after we seen that first leg up, I was like, okay, Bitcoin's gonna go to a consolidation period. This is gonna be the time where a lot of people start to exit their bags, and this is what we've been seeing. And the reason how I'm able to predict this, guys, because I did this before in the past. Like I was the one selling when I was not seeing those immediate results. But yeah, Bitcoin going into consolidation, which it has been for the past ever since what, January. But once Bitcoin surpass its all-time highs, which I think is like 109 something, and continue to have that next leg up, then this is when you're going to start to see other tokens, other altcoins, um, start to have that big massive run up. Now, if the team did everything that because the team they did everything that was on the roadmap. Get Shabarium out, get Treat out. Now, I think implementing the treat rewards, once we start seeing that parabolic move, getting people to want to come onto Shabarium, that's the next step. Um, and us as a community, because again, like I mentioned, it's right now the crypto market is an attention based market. So if you hold Bone, you got to make daily posts about Bone. Um, or You could make daily posts about Roaring Kitty because that's one thing about Roaring Kitty. Since it's on Shibarium, as Spotlight come onto Roaring Kitty, it's going to automatically put Spotlight onto Shibarium. So that's the big play right there. Because the way that chains pop, it's either through incentive measure, like a reward. If you look at the Arbitrum, the OP token, that was the reward. That was that carrot. That was the thing that got people to get onto their chain. Arbitrum. Oh, I said optimism. I'm sorry, OP. The OP token for optimism. That was the carrot to get them to come onto the layer two. Arbitrum, the ARB token, that was what to get onto their chain. Blaze, the Blaze token to get onto their layer two as well too. We have Treat. So once Treat starts to get implemented, creating quests to getting people to want to get that free token to incentivize them, then I think that's one way we could see a Shibarium blow up. Second way is through a meme token. A lot of tokens, a lot of chains exploded due to the fact there was one meme token that went crazy. You've seen how Solana, you've seen how Base went crazy, BNB it went crazy. Uh, yeah, like these are how Ethereum it went crazy because of Sheeb. Like all these different chains, they blew up because of one meme token. And the goal for Roaring Kitty is to be that meme token on Shibarium. And this is why I think like we all as Sheep Army holders or members could support one token. Because if one token make it, the other ones that's on the chain, the early ones that's on the chain, they're gonna also make it as well too. Because people are gonna look for the next one on that chain. So if we could unify the Sheep Army, you know, if we unify as the army, then it could blow up. So to be honest, Bone is acting like dog poop. But the thing again, it's a utility token. Bone is not a meme token. Majority of the tokens that you're seeing that are performing, they are meme tokens, and the ones that are performing well, they are CTO tokens. Like different category. If you look at the, Bone is not acting any differently than other utility tokens that's currently out in the market. Like people just, I think people just put the focus in because that's the one that you're invested into. But if you look across the board with different utility tokens, they are acting the very same way. The outliers, meme tokens. So if you want to get in on action as far as like seeing big candles, green candles, then of course not financial advice, but you need to invest, put some of your portfolio into a meme, better yet a CTO, even better yet a CTO that's going to also benefit Bone, because if you're still bullish on Bone, you still think that Bone has the potential, then this is the token, because this token right here, it helps Bone. Its liquidity is in Bone. Like just the little stuff, because I get it, you're seeing other projects, you're seeing other tokens, they're going crazy, but you gotta know what you own. Are you owning a utility? Is your portfolio just full of utilities? Is it with meme coins? So based upon that, if your portfolio is not with meme coins that are seeing, that are getting driven by community, so hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, guys, I am going to cut it here. Again, Roaring Kitty on Ethereum, guys. The next SPX 6900. Current price right now is at 0.203727. We're gonna see this thing over a buck. Over a buck. But that is all that I have for you guys today. Random Mars guys signing off. Peace.